Welcome back, folks, to Point to Point. I'm thrilled to bring you a spoiler review of Loki Season 2, Episode 5. Hold on to your seats because we've got an electrifying episode to discuss. As always, if you're not up to date, there are major spoilers ahead, so consider this your final warning. Now, before we dive into the juicy bits of Episode 5, let's set the stage. Loki Season 2 has been an absolute roller coaster, leaving fans worldwide on the edge of their seats. Tom Hiddleston's performance continues to be the linchpin of this show, anchoring us through the chaos of the multiverse. Episode 5 opens with a bang. Loki wakes up after the temporal loom explosion, discovering that everyone else has disappeared. He walks through the empty Tiva headquarters and begins time slipping again, which he is unhappy about. He briefly finds a man reading the TVA manual, but time slips before he can approach him, and later realizes that the man is actually a version of himself from slightly forward in the future. The TVA begins to disintegrate into strings of time as the organization's fail-safe mode is initiated. In 1994 Pasadena, OB, also known as AD, Doug tries and fails to sell his own book at a bookstore. He returns home to a house that looks a lot like his office in the TVA, and Loki time slips to him, and he immediately believes his story. Obi argues that Loki should theoretically be able to control his time slipping and end up back at the TVA, because the ability already seems to be evolving better. Loki argues that the TVA is the last defense to stop Kang and what's coming, and OB says that mission to save the TVA should be something Loki can control. Loki tries to deliberately time slip and fails. OB tries different things, electric shocks scaring him, to activate it, but that doesn't work either. B eventually suggests that they get the group back together and track their collective temporal auras back to the TV. The only problem is that OB doesn't think he can build a tempad from scratch, but Loki is able to give him the TVA manual to help, only to time slip again. Loki ends up outside of Mobius or Dawn's house, where he is trying to rein in his two kids, Kevin and Sean. Loki approaches, and Dawn decides to sell him one of his personal jet skis, because he doesn't need two after the death of his wife. Loki starts telling Dawn about Mobius's real life, and he initially is skeptic until OB shows up through a time door with the fully functioning tempad, which took him 19 months to build. He worries about leaving his boys behind, but eventually agrees to go with Loki. He is able to convince both Hunter B-15 and Casey Howe Frank to join the cause as well. They all regroup at OB's house. That still leaves Sylvie, who is back at McDonald's in the 80s. Her bag of food starts to disappear just as Loki arrives through a time door. Sylvie's life didn't get reset when the loom exploded, so she immediately invites Loki into her car and takes him to a local bar. We also saw the Maniac Easter egg there. Loki argues that everyone should have the choice to stay with the TVA or return to their normal lives, and Sylvie disagrees. Loki says he wants his friends back because he doesn't belong without them. Loki returns to OB's house and tells everyone to go back home. Sylvie listens to a Velvet Underground record at her local record store as reality starts to bleed and disappear around her. At the last possible second, she uses a time door to escape and arrive at OB's house. Sylvie admits that time is falling apart, and the team tries to find the tempad, just as Casey begins to disappear. OB, Hunter B-15, and Mobius all do the same. Sylvie admits that there's nowhere left to go, and she disappears. Loki begins to cry out at the time around him, and that somehow manages to time slip him back in time. First a few seconds, and then a minute or so. He tells the group that he was able to successfully control it by focusing on the who he wants to travel back to. He successfully time slips back to before the loom exploded. In summary, Loki Season 2, Episode 5 is a brilliant addition to the series. It continues to expand the MCU in exciting ways while delivering on action, emotion, and character development. It's a must-watch for Marvel fans and anyone who appreciates a well-crafted, multi-layered story. However, if you want to see something beautiful and romantic, click on the I button. That's a wrap on our spoiler review of Loki Season 2, Episode 5. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe for more Marvel content, share your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, in the vast universe of cinema, we're just one click away. This is Point to Point signing off.